Okay, we are live on YouTube. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 11th episode, The Connected Profit Effect, the courage to build referral relationships with Yakov Smart. Yakov is the founder of Connect and Profit and known as the leading authority on attracting high paying clients by activating the Connect and Profit effect. Tapping into the Connect and Profit system, Yakov grew his consulting and online course business from zero to multiple six figures while becoming a trusted advisor to top entrepreneurs and sales leaders worldwide. He has also shared the stage with Samantha Debianci of Bravo's hit TV show $1 Million Listing and has been a guest on numerous media outlets. A resident of Scottsdale, Arizona, today Yakov's webinars, on demand training programs, and strategic consulting accelerators give entrepreneurs proven tools and techniques for ending their marketing overwhelm and getting high paying clients constantly coming to them. Isn't this appealing? And I am truly grateful to be with Yakov here today, learning from you. Thank you so much, Yakov. You truly have shifted the way that marketing has been originally founded, so to say, because you have a new amazing approach that I would love it to have our audience learn from you as well. Can you please tell us what's your definition of marketing overwhelm and why do you think it's such an important thing for business owners to overcome?
Right, Roxana. And so when we think about marketing, there's really two ways to think about it. I'm going to invite people to start thinking about it a little differently, right? Because most business owners, they enjoy, especially professional service providers, they enjoy working with the clients. They enjoy doing the work they love doing. So if you're a coach, for example, you love the coaching, you love the breakthroughs, you love the conversations. But you don't love marketing your business. You don't love trying to find clients, okay? And you especially don't love feeling like it's not authentic or feeling like it's annoying people or bothering people, right? And at the same time, what happens with most businesses, with most professional service providers, like coaches, for example, is you've seen and you're going to continue to see that most of your best clients, they don't come from quote unquote marketing, the stuff that you've told you should be doing. They actually come from referrals, which is quite fascinating. And so what connected profit is all about, what this, different way, different approach of getting clients is all about is this, right? Rather than focusing on marketing, and I'll give you a metaphor here. It's, rather than driving, let's say you've got to get to a destination, right? You want to get somewhere to this beautiful place, wherever you're going to in your car, and you're driving, but the only way to get there, you're on this one lane highway where there's a ton of traffic, everyone's pissed off that they have to wait hours and hours to get moving. And it's super frustrating, right? That's how most professional service providers go about doing marketing. But with Connect and Profit, this different way of growing your business is all about getting more referrals. So rather than, doing that direct type of lead generation in marketing, which can still, work and be a part of things, but rather than having that be the primary foundational thing, what if instead you could go on the expressway, at 10 o'clock in the morning when there's not a lot of cars, right? You put yourself in the fast lane. And the way to do that is through developing these dream referral partnerships where you're not focused on, taking someone who's ice cold and doesn't trust you to trust you enough where you're not having to convince people. Instead, you're coming referred from someone they already trust. And that's what, this shift is all about. And, it's taking away all that marketing that stresses people out and overwhelms people to a place where you're developing dream referral partnerships and getting more referrals every month and growing your business, but you're not having to do all that marketing stuff that you don't want to do anyway.
This is truly revelatory, and as a trainer of neurolinguistic programming myself, it has been a struggle at the beginning. You are so right, and it is amazing how not too many people know about this system yet. And I have another curiosity. Can you please tell us what was the tipping point or breakthrough that led you to discover the connect and profit effect? Because I'm pretty sure that you yourself have had some hardship at the beginning, isn't it?
I don't necessarily want to call it a hardship, but it was accidental. I started my business. I was 23 years old, so I was, young. I was living in Vegas. I had quit my sales job to go into business, and we were showing people some of the intricacies of using LinkedIn for direct lead generation. And yeah, I was, having a hard time getting clients. It was like there was so much to learn about marketing, and I like marketing, but there was so much to do. I didn't have the resources to hire someone. I didn't have the resources to, you know, do a lot of different things that I thought I should be doing. And that turned out to be an excellent thing because I accidentally realized that you could develop these referral partnerships. And, instead of me having to do all the work to build trust, to generate the lead, to run the ad, to do all this other stuff that's, super complicated, using other people's people essentially, right? Creating those referral relationships, I was able to get in front of audiences and already become highly trusted and use that to create one-to-many referrals and grow my business. So I rather accidentally discovered this system. I think the first time, well, I'll give you a couple of examples when I first, did this type of thing. I was working with a mentor and I thought it'd be a great idea. I asked him, hey, can we do a webinar together? Right? Because that, he had a big list and, a lot of trust and people were passionate about, his stuff. But we did a webinar together and guess what happened? It completely bombed. It was zero sales, zero. I got some leads, but it was just like I didn't know what I was doing. And to another time where we did something with someone locally, and I spoke to his group, and it was my first time making. I think I made $4,000 or $5,000 that day. It was my first time making that much in a day. So, and it was one to many. There was no convincing people. There was no no complicated marketing. I just showed up, and through leveraging that relationship, I was able to create that result. So what I want to say to people too, where the breakthrough is, where if you're focusing, because you need to get more clients or you grow your business. Most people listening aren't happy with where they're at with their deal flow and revenue, right? So, and what it would mean for you if you, let's say, could get 3 or more additional referrals every month. And so the focus needs to shift though, and that's where Connect and Profit comes in. Is instead of focusing on all the complicated marketing, focus on how you can go out there and build these dream referral partnerships. And when we talk about a dream referral partnership, Roxana, we're talking about people who have the potential to send you 3 or more referrals every single month.
Wow, that is truly obvious and fascinating. Building relationships, as this would be what business should be all about, isn't it?
Well, here's the problem, right? So it's like, in theory, it sounds great, but here's the issue that some people have, especially people who love talking to people and building relationships. They get all excited. They start, trying to network, and I use that word very intentionally. And they have a bunch of virtual meetings or virtual coffees or even in-person meetings with people who hypothetically they may be able to somehow collaborate with, but it goes nowhere. It's the meeting that's like, oh, I like you, I like what you do. If I hear of someone, I'll keep you in mind, and vice versa. And that I hate that. I personally hate networking. I hate it. It's a waste of time, waste of energy. And most of the time, when you show up, the right people aren't there. Instead, you want to, and that word again, intentionality, right? So let's use you for an example because it will make it really practical here, right? So you're an NLP coach, Roxana. So you're from what I understand, because I have a pretty decent understanding of NLP and that whole world. So you're offering coaching where you work with people to have, let's call it breakthroughs of some sort through your coaching and your work, correct?
Similar, yeah, but yeah. Let's take this example. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in your case, if we were to look at now, let's go over the 5-step framework as well. So number one, if I were to ask you, okay, so right now, marketing wise, you're probably, and I could be wrong, tell me if I am, you're probably getting most of your clients or have gotten most of your clients from referrals.
That is correct.
Okay. I would also guess, and I may be a mind reader here, but I would also guess that you've tried different types of online marketing before. Things like posting content, posting in groups, Facebook ads, DMing people on LinkedIn. Have you ever tried any of those things?
I have tried them all.
Okay. And no judgment here, but how did they go?
It was not as I had hoped.
Yeah, it was hard, right? It
Yeah,
felt like you were pushing a boulder uphill, like you were trying to convince people that they even need you,
exactly,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
And you felt a little icky. A lot of people do, right? So
yeah,
if we were to look at your business, right? Because you know that if you get more referrals, you'll have more cash flow. You'll be able to help more people. You'll be able to have a better business, live a better life, all those amazing things. So in your case, the very first thing we would do, and we'll go a high level overview, it'll be kind of cool. But who do you think are some of the people out there who have your ideal customer? Who your ideal customers are already doing business with. You don't have to give me specific names, but maybe some categories of people.
well, let's say Mel Robbins, for example, which I really like, or maybe even Tony Robbins, and similar people that have quite some audience in this personal development area.
Right. So you're talking about other service providers who are offering product or service to people who are already interested in what's called personal growth. Right. Personal
Yeah,
growth is a different category. You give some names that a lot of people will know: Mel Robbins, Tony Robbins. Um, Also under that umbrella, you've got local business coaches, right? You've got people doing retreats. You've got
yeah,
people talking about even spiritual development, right? You've got people who are executive coaches, right? Who are teaching leadership. You've got, keynote speakers. You've got organizations offering softwares for peak performance, even things like CRMs, right? People working with salespeople who all are oftentimes interested in better performance, personal growth. So
yeah.
there's so many different angles and avenues, right, of specific people. And would Tony Robbins be absolutely great? Sure, yeah. But he's probably you're probably not going to get to talk to Tony next month, and he's probably not going to start sending you referrals all of a sudden, right? But you can talk to someone who's that executive coach or who's that sales trainer who has clients already, who's going to start sending you direct referrals when you do it right. Okay, so that's one example of this type of relationship. So that's the first part of the framework. The second part that we want to talk about, so we talk about identifying some of these people, is your unique positioning, right? So, if I were to ask you, I'll put you on the spot a little here, but I think you can handle it. What makes the work you do or the value you provide, what makes it unique, memorable, and different? How would you answer that?
Yeah, that would mean a very strong niche and micro niching as I'm doing right now. And indeed, if I don't have someone that is trusting me enough to be able to present me to their list, then the chances of me building the a very traditional marketing way of getting clients would be maybe one client per month, as I have had a few years ago. But indeed, as I have built on referrals, it has skyrocketed my business and my entire portfolio, the email list and everything. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Can you give us an example? I think this is kind of cool of micro niching or something that
Yeah.
you've done with micro niching.
As I'm specialized on fear in business, I am working with lawyers that have fear in taking decisions in their
Okay.
professional lives.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's a great example of unique positioning, right? So, understanding that the people who can send you referrals, there's so many companies that are working with lawyers, right?
Yeah.
From software companies to other advisory companies to financial advisors who partner with them to different types of companies they work with. So it's very cool. And then, yeah, I mean, so I'll give you the other three steps of the framework too, just so because I don't want to leave an open loop for people. The next step of the framework, right? So we talked about identifying, we talked about getting positioning. The next step is how do you actually get someone to engage? It's more of the approach, right? And we talk about doing this through LinkedIn, through email, through other channels. Having a hook, right? Having something that is going to get that, and not the end client necessarily, but someone who's servicing those lawyers in your case to say, okay, this is interesting. I want to have a conversation and learn more. Okay, so there's value for me here. Okay, and then that next piece is having a power, excuse me, a power offer. Okay, and that's when you have that conversation, making it so that they say yes to promoting you to their people, so even sending you referrals. Okay, and it's structured in a very intentional way that it gives them value. And the final piece is you alluded to it earlier, staying top of mind, right? Having a follow up system where they're hearing from you, where it's easy for them to send you multiple referrals every month. And the point that I want to make here for everyone who's a business owner or growing their business is if you focus on developing and implementing this type of system for your business, rather than focus on all the shiny objects and all the things you could do potentially to market online directly that are hard to figure out and for most people aren't working, you're going to have a lot better results with a lot less effort. And that's what that's all about.
This is so cool. I am having some breakthroughs now as I listen to you. And by the way, I have loved listening to one of your webinars. It has gotten my business mindset to a whole new level. And I wanted to ask you, Yakov, what do you think are some of the biggest mistakes besides the shiny object syndrome to avoid when it comes to making that initial connection and building value?
Well, the first mistake is doing nothing. That's the first mistake, is being afraid, right? Because, and we all do, no matter what level of business you're in, we have these, you talk about fear, right? And I think it's a great segue, this fear of rejection, right? What if this other person says no, or tells me I'm a loser, or, laughs at me, right? Or, they're so much further along, how can I possibly give that person any value? Or am I going to look like an idiot and they're going to tell everyone and it's going to ruin my reputation, right? So we have these fears and these stories that come up in our minds. And what happens for a lot of people is they do nothing, right? And, or not doing it perfectly, right? Or coming off as annoying or spamming. Like these are all fears that people have. So one of the first mistakes is, being gripped by fear and creating this like paralysis where you don't do anything. And if you don't do anything, things aren't different, right? You don't just think something different all of a sudden, it happens. If you just think about your referral partner, they send you referrals, they don't know who you are. It's not how it works. It requires a different action, different level of intentionality, right? And I think it comes back to that word. That's a big missing piece is intentionality, right? The next mistake is for the people that do try something, they'll go and they're not creating value. They don't understand that there's a value gap, right, between you and that other person who potentially send you referrals where they probably have never heard of you before. They don't know you from Tom. There's so many people that want stuff from them. The more successful, the busier they are. And so what some people do is they send a message or an email. It's all about themselves. Like, hi, we could do this great thing, right? And they make the message long-winded and very self-centric, where the other person, it feels like work just reading that message, let alone, developing a relationship. And it's easy to say no. It's easy to say no thank you to that, right? Where instead the other thing sometimes they do where it's overbearing, right? And to use a trite metaphor, it's like if you met someone at a local bar or coffee shop and you were interested in getting to know them, and you said, "Oh, hey, I think you look really nice. Do you want to go get married?" It's like, of course not. That would be a very weird thing to tell someone. But yet, so many people, try this in their type of approach, right? So those are some of the biggest mistakes. And then the other big mistake that comes down to intentionality. Let's say you do have a meeting with someone who can send you referrals, is not giving them value, not conveying what's in it for them, and not making it easy, right? Expecting them to do a lot of work and put more stuff on their plate. You want to make it so easy and turnkey that it's just it's all upside, and there's no downside for them. So those are a couple of the biggest things, and I think sometimes people will try to reinvent the wheel or try to figure it out for themselves, and it really becomes a challenge because most people don't have the skill set. Most people, if you don't already have a system like this that works,
Yeah.
it's important to go out and get the knowledge and to be able to implement things effectively.
And as I'm hearing you speak, the connect and profit system that you created seems to be a dream catcher to keeping your dreams alive, because if you focus on way too many other activities, as you said, let's focus on what we are good at. I like fear, you have your marketing system, but yes, if I would also be marketing, doing all of the promotion and everything involved, I would be completely overwhelmed, which, to be honest, I've never heard anyone talk in business about the concept of overwhelmed as you did. And I'm so glad you brought this up, because far too many young entrepreneurs think they know it all at the beginning. You get some notions in school, then you get some trainings from the gurus that you learn from, but that equals zero. You need to do some extra steps. And I wanted to also ask you, how can someone start using the Connect and Profit system if they don't already have a large following or email list?
Well, it's not necessary to have them, right? That's another mistake, right? That people will think, oh, well, I don't have a large database. I can't reciprocate referrals, right? It's like, oh, that person can send me 3 referrals every month. Maybe I can't send them any. There's different ways to give value. Okay, so most of the time, giving value, sure, maybe you can pay someone an affiliate commission if that's allowed in your industry. That's one way. But think of that as the cherry on top, not the ice cream sundae, right? So the best value you can give to someone is having them look good, right? Why do people send referrals? They want to look good. And if you can alleviate a challenge that their customers are facing, it means more business for them, great for their reputation. They look good, more exposure. There's a ton of value, and that's why the kind of the antidote to not having a large list, audience, and following, and creating these types of referral relationships is to have your referral power offer, right? Where you can clearly articulate what's in it for them, how to get started, and make it an easy yes, make it a home run, right? And that's going to be a little different for every business. That's why we ask questions. That's why we ask questions from potential referral partners, because we know where the value is for them and how you can bridge that value gap.
Wow, wonderful. Really, really inspirational. I would love to take some notes after we finish our conversation today. Can you also please tell us, Yakov, what's your best advice for getting the system implemented and seeing results as quickly as possible? Because some of us are not the most patient persons in the world.
Yeah. the best advice is not to try and figure it out for yourself. Is to get additional guidance and mentorship on it, and to commit to getting it down, right? And to focus time, energy. Because commitment requires a focus of three things, right? Time, energy, and usually money. So making that type of commitment is the way to get those results. Otherwise, if you just dabble in it and you go and try a one-off thing and that doesn't work, or you try to reach out to someone, you don't hear anything back, and you just quit. It's not going to get you the results that you can have. So you're sitting in most businesses on top of a gold mine, right? On top of a plethora of opportunity, and what you want to do is get into implementation, right? So, best way to do that, partner with someone, get the additional guidance, the mentorship, to get it implemented the right way. Because you don't want to have to do it 15 different times, right? Because most people will never do it that 15 times and get discouraged. So get that additional guidance and commit to getting it implemented. Once you do, what you're really looking for, what your intention needs to be, is a system that works again and again for adding more referrals every month and growing your business.
Wow. Awesome. And as you say it now, it sounds very obvious, but it is not. It is a bit of deciding to actually be successful. If you don't do anything, obviously nothing will happen. And I wanted to ask you something that is related to the theme of our talk, which is what is your relationship with fear now? Not at the beginning, because at the beginning I can imagine it wasn't the best one. What's the relationship with fear now after having so many achievements?
It's a different relationship. I would say, it's more of a conscious relationship. When I was first getting started, I feel like I had a lot less to lose. And I was ignorant in a lot of things, but I didn't know what I didn't know. Now I know a lot of what I didn't know, and now there's more to lose. So sometimes the fear can be more powerful too, right? Which is interesting. Sometimes it can have a greater grip, but I'm more aware, and now I think I'm better at acting in spite of it. And some people may know this, but in the game of poker, so the card game poker, which is a great metaphor for a lot of things, there's an expression called going on tilt. And what that expression means is you let your emotions get the best of you and you make reckless decisions and you do a bunch of losing. That's usually what happens. And there's even an expression for it. And that's why it's called going on tilt. So I think something similar can happen to us in business with fear, right? Where we start being afraid, we start questioning ourselves, the doubt starts creeping in. We go down the spiral where we start making bad decisions. Okay, we start taking the wrong actions or taking no action, and we put ourselves in a hole, and then it takes a lot more upward momentum to get out of. So my relationship with fear, I think now is much more conscious and aware. Still got a long way to go. I think mental mastery is a very interesting and important topic. But my relationship now is, when I have fear, usually I try to ask myself, what am I not seeing, or what is this telling me? Because I think there's something intuitive about it as well.
Love it. You are using the right questions to ask yourself. You are kind of learning from it, letting it guide you.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's also, not to get, we can get a little philosophical, but if we talk about detachment and attachment, right? And some of that fear comes from this place of attachment that usually doesn't lead to good things. So if we're more detached and observant, I think it creates opportunity to really use the fear as a tool, as a positive.
Love it. Well, Yakov, this has been very entertaining. This was a very cool talk with you, very interactive. Can you please tell us how can our audience get in touch with you? Because I am pretty sure everyone is really curious about testing the Connect and Profit system. And also, how do they implement this great strategy what would you recommend? What are the first steps as people are listening to us now?
Well, the first step is to have an intention, right? The first step is to start to imagine and think about and, picture some of the possibilities for your business and, really let yourself get excited, right? Hey, it's
Yeah.
available. But also, the next step is to understand that there is a gap, right? Understand that there is a challenge, there's something missing because if there wasn't, you'd already have the result, right? And the third step is to commit to bridging that gap. For those people who want to know more about how we can work with them to do that, you can go to connectandprofit.co/apply. That's connectandprofit.co/apply. You can learn a little more about me, what we do, how we may be able to work together. And there's a button on the page where you can apply for consultation. We'll go from there.
Wonderful, Yakov. This has been fantastic. Thank you for all this teaching that you have provided me and our audience with. I am sure that everyone listening to us will go to your website. You will find all the details in the description everywhere on social media, in this description of the podcast. Yakov, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And wishing you all the things that you mostly desire in your lifestyle, because if there's anyone that can achieve them, it's you for sure.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, Roxana. This has been great. I appreciate you for having this show and for having me on.
Thank you.